Most people chase freedom at retirement, but I couldn't wait that long. My life has taken so many different twists and turns. I have lost my job. I have lost my home. I raised my son as a single mom. But everything led me to where I am now, and I don't regret it. I am now a solo female living in an RV full time, and my life feels so much more free. Hi, everybody. It's Deb with Deb's Road to Freedom, and thank you for being here. I am going to tell you about some of the pivotal moments in my life that brought me to where I am now. So this video is going to be my story. It's going to give you the highlights of how I ended up in this situation. And I just want to tell you, I appreciate you being here. This is a new channel for me. I do have another channel called Deb's RV Services where I showcase all the work that I do. And if you are from that channel, thank you for converting over. I appreciate it. I wanted to make a channel that was more about the lifestyle of being free, chasing freedom, living this way, and anything else that you want to know. And I really feel passionate about this subject, so I had to create a channel just so I could talk about it. So I want to talk about my early life first. I started out working in the corporate world right out of high school. I landed a good job. You didn't need to have a college degree back then, and I started working right away. I worked my way up a little bit, and then after about 5 years, I wanted to change out different companies, so I went and worked for another corporate company. One of the great opportunities that I got was I worked for Ford Motor Company, and then I transferred out to Colorado, and I was able to help start a new subsidiary out there. I really loved that opportunity because I had diverse work. I was kind of doing a little bit of everything because it was a startup and they didn't have all the people in place. I really found that that was like a good area for me, but I didn't know myself well enough, and the company wanted me to go back out and learn the business, and then I was tied to a desk again and behind all these walls, and it just slowly killed me. So I was out there in Colorado, which I absolutely loved the West. In that moment, I really loved the opportunity to be in the mountains, and I loved the earth. I loved the sunshine there every day, and I just felt like there was this renewed sense of freedom in me that I'd never felt before. And that was part of the beginning of where I realized who I was, but I didn't know there were other options. I was still just trying to make it in corporate America, but I remember having dreams of, could I just quit and do something different and stay here and just enjoy life a little bit better? But there was no way for me to financially do that. So I just felt stuck. So later on, I ended up getting pregnant with my son, and my husband and I moved back to Michigan so I could raise him near family. At the time, I thought this was the best decision. So I moved back to Michigan. My husband is working for Ford at the time. I go to massage therapy school because I'm no longer working. We decided that I could be a stay-at-home mom for the first year, and I enrolled in massage therapy school part-time so that I could do something in the healing fields because I've always loved everything about natural healing. And then life took another turn. I was about 3 months into my massage therapy program, and my husband and I filed for a divorce. Things were not working out between us. We were only married a couple of years. To be honest, I got pregnant while we were dating, and so we got married, thought it was the right thing to do, and we just decided that it would be best for Elijah, who is our son, for me to stay at home for a year. So we got married and we did all those things, and then we moved back, but it wasn't working between us. So we went ahead and got a divorce. I had to get back out there into the workforce and start working right away. And the only thing that I could do is my administrative assistant type of work, going back into corporate America, because that's what was going to keep me financially stable while I had this house. So I became the owner of this house, and I raised my son as a single mom. His father was still in his life, but I mainly took care of him, and he was with me most of the time. So I had to shuffle daycare and him going to school, me going to work. And I was also still going to massage therapy school. So that first year after the divorce was so extremely hard. I can't even tell you the amount of stress that I went in, but I made it through and I got to the other side. So I continued to do everything that I knew how to do. I was working full time. I was taking care of my son, getting through all of life's challenges with home ownership. And then the 2008 crash happened. In 2008, a lot of us went through very difficult times with the recession. And I, at the time, had switched to contract work, and then that contract ended and there were no more jobs available. So I, at that point, was so defeated in my career path that I almost didn't care. Now, you would say, why, how could you not care? I mean, this is your livelihood. Weren't you completely stressed out? Yes. But also, I felt like maybe this could be a new beginning for me to do something that I actually love. So I decided to enroll in college. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't keep up with the bills because I had lost my job and I lost my house to foreclosure. And what happened after that was kind of a miracle because my ex-husband, my son's father, was able to purchase another home. With the economic crash, he bought a home for next to nothing and then he rented it to me. So he made sure that Elijah and I were good and stable and we had a good home to be in. So after I left the one house, I moved into the other house and we moved into a much better neighborhood. And my son went to schools that were absolutely wonderful to him where he thrived during his high school years. The problem is that it took me 4 years to go through school and all this was student loan debt. The problem with that is in the beginning of that, I was supposed to be involved in this program called No Worker Left Behind, and I was supposed to get tuition coverage for that, but they ran out of money by the time I got into the program. But I wasn't going to stop there. I was already deep into it. So I took out all the loans and I continued to get through college and I got my degree and then I was able to start working in a field that I thought would be the best option and I was finally going to help heal people, which is something I'd always wanted to do. I started working in healthcare after I graduated and I got a job at a hospital right away and a really good company and I had benefits, I had all the things. But right off the bat, I felt I had so much stress from school. I mean, it literally exhausted every nerve cell in my body to take those tests and to graduate. I had a lot of anxiety back then and I didn't understand my anxiety, but it was so severe that it was really difficult for me to get through school. And when I graduated, I started working in the hospital and it was a lot for me because I went back to working the 8 to 5 kind of job again. And again, it was sitting at a desk. We got handed sheets of paper on all the patients that we would see. We had to see them. We had to complete our notes and we had these protocols that we had to follow. And it really started to wear on me physically because I was lifting patients and I was really weakened from being in school all those years, so I had no core strength and I had to get myself back in shape, but I found myself having such a difficult time because I was still knee deep in being a single mom, taking care of a house, and then now I was working a full-time job at a hospital where I was having to lift really heavy patients, and so it did take its toll on me. So I decided to switch and go into home care, which suited me really well, and I did that for about 10 years. But again, I started to feel trapped. And this started happening around, I would say 2016, where I started to just feel completely drained. I was doing everything I could, trying to earn as much money as I could as a physical therapy assistant. By this time, I had owned my house. So the house that I rented, I now owned it. I rebuilt my credit. I did all the right things again. I had myself secure and I had a good stable job. I had the benefits, but I was maxed out in my pay. I had really gotten to the point, I was working in the highest paid position in my field and I was doing that exclusively and I was running my tail off just trying to get to as many patients as I could. A lot of times things could happen where you didn't get as many patients as you thought you were going to get, and so you were frustrated because you wanted to make more money, you wanted to see more patients. And then at other times you would get told to see people that you really didn't feel like ethically should be seen. Like, okay, I know that this patient needs to be seen because otherwise insurance isn't going to cover them anymore. But it was really riding on some ethical feelings I had. I didn't like that feeling that if I had to see somebody where it wasn't justified ethically, that I had to continue to treat them. To me, that was something that really grated on me. Or if I saw people that didn't do what they were supposed to do in my field, I felt like I needed to report it. But the problem was nothing was ever done about it. So it was almost like, why bother? But it stayed with me internally. And because of that, I felt frustrated in my field. And I just felt like I wasn't, like, why am I doing this? Am I really helping people after all? I thought that I was going to be in a field where I really helped people. And I just felt like it was full of protocols and the same thing, the grind, the 9 to 5. And I just started to get burned out from it. I found YouTube to be a comfort for me when I would come home from work and I would sit in my recliner. There were a lot of long winter nights where it was too cold outside to do anything. In Michigan, it's very cold, so I would watch YouTube. I absolutely loved YouTube. I've loved YouTube forever. It's always found it to be such a cool place where you can learn about real people and real things. So I started watching things like Cheap RV Living because that was one of the main channels out back then. And I was fascinated by people that could actually live in vans and RVs and vehicles. Like, what? Who does this? And they would talk about how they gave up their day job and just sold everything and went out. And I thought, oh, this is like heaven. It sounds like heaven to me. Oh my gosh, I've got to do this. I mean, I know that there's people out there watching this right now that you know exactly what I'm talking about. You think this is what I need. And so it set me on a course that never ended. I was full on just hyper focused on the stories of other people that got out there and did this lifestyle. So I continued to watch all these on YouTube, and I started to make my plan. Near the end, one of the things that I had to wait for was for my son to graduate high school. And I had started talking to people out west. I really wanted to go out there more. My mom had moved to Tucson and she was staying out there. And I really realized that my winters in Michigan were getting so old, I could barely do it. And I was just waiting for my son to graduate high school. And then 2020 hit, another huge pivotal moment in history. And it happened the year that my son was graduating high school. So just a little bit about my son. He was a theater kid. He could sing, he could act. Everything for him was on stage. He wanted to go be in musical theater. Well, as you know, when COVID hit, nobody could do anything anymore. So he was supposed to be in a lead role in Greece, and then 2 weeks before the musical, everything got shut down. He ended up in his room on gaming on his computer, and he didn't leave. So it got to the point where I realized that he wasn't going to go pursue college at this point. He has ADHD, has a hard time focusing, so having online schooling was not for him. And I said, that's okay. I want you to get out there and actually just start working. It was better for him to get a real job and just start working right away, because otherwise what was going to happen was he was just going to get himself further and further into a depressive hole if he just sat in his room on a computer all the time. So he needed to get moving. And so that's what he did. And we ended up having an arrangement where, because I said, I need to sell this house. I realized financially that it started to make me feel like 2008 again. And I did not want to lose everything. I also thought the housing market was also starting to boom, and that I could sell my house and actually make some money on it, and that it could start my lifestyle. So I made a decision to sell the house. My son was going to get an apartment, and I was going to hit the road. The next thing I had to decide was what type of job was I going to do on the road. I didn't want to continue doing the physical therapy because at the time I really didn't know what was going to happen, because it was just a year after COVID came out, and everything was weird for a while. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do something where I know I can help people and I can learn a new skill. I was already getting burned out of healthcare. I was just feeling the drain, and I just wanted to learn something new. So I found this program to become an RV inspector, and there was a school in Athens, Texas. So I went ahead and I joined the program, got the training, came back to Michigan, and started working right away. I was like, this is awesome. So my goal from then on was to really learn how to be an entrepreneur, to get my business growing, to do as many inspections as I could. But also I needed to get an RV and I needed to get out of Dodge, which was Michigan. So I ended up buying an RV from a friend that I met in inspection school, and I know her and her husband took care of it very well. That is my current RV, which is my Lazy Days. It's a 2000 Lazy Days rear bath, and I absolutely love it. I have been traveling in her since 2022. And when I sold the house, shortly after that, I moved on the property where a friend was. So I stayed in Michigan and I did inspections and I stayed around. My son got an apartment with a friend. And so everything was good. And then I finally felt like, okay, winter's here. I can get out to Arizona head west for my first time and see how business is. As a full-time nomad, I now travel to Colorado, I travel to Arizona, I've been to Washington, I'm even in Michigan right now. So if you notice the background, this is my son's apartment, and I'm staying here for a little bit until the holidays are over, and then I'm getting back on the road and getting out west. So I have a lot of different stories to share with the last several years and how things have gone for me. I want this channel to be an inspiration for you. I want to dive into finances and freedom that way because I have a debt journey and I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to share with you how I do that. And I want to talk about different RVs. I have my whole channel dedicated to that, so you can always watch that at Deb's RV Services. This one is going to be more personal, more inspirational, and I want to just dive into all those things. I love my nomad life. I love the freedom I feel, and there's lots of reasons why, and I'm going to share all of that with you. So if you like what you heard and you want to know more, please like and subscribe to this channel and leave all your comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.